Boat and RV storage, the cash cows that are just really easy to do. Well, that's the narrative, and it has been for a while, and that's why we've seen lots of them be built. And so today we're talking about the pros and cons of boat and RV storage and what the reality of this investment really looks like. Boat and RV storage has been popping up everywhere for a few reasons, because the huge demand that we have seen over the last 6 years in people purchasing boat and RVs, especially because of COVID. That drove up rental rates for boat and RV storage to enormous levels like we have never seen before. But it's also because the investment is so easy to own and operate. After all, they're the same thing. They're all just big doors in big units or covered or open parking. People pull in and they pull out. There's really not a lot to it. So overhead is very, very low. It's easy to use, easy to run, easy to control with gate access, and huge demand. Interest rates drove the boat and RV demand. Low interest rates, nobody had anywhere to go during COVID. They purchased boats, RVs, toys like crazy so they could go in the outdoors. They weren't gonna go out eating, and everybody wasn't getting together at parties anymore because of COVID, so everybody went out. And money was free. So these acquisitions were super, super low for anybody wanting to do and play with all these toys. And even better, they could work on the road in their RV. That fueled this growth. Interest rates absolutely squashed it. Rising interest rates made luxury things like that unaffordable, and sales tanked. Yes, they're still out there, but with interest rates rising and the cost of everything rising, the discretionary expense to house those goods became way more painful. And in a lot of markets, the largest rate drops that we saw were in this space. The space, although it's easy, is actually kind of inefficient on a revenue per square foot. When you have a unit that is big as the ones behind me, that is a massive amount of space. You can only charge so much for that square footage before nobody can afford it anymore. Whereas if you have a small unit, 5x5, that limited space you have, you can charge a lot more for the limited space. We had spaces like these that were going for 800 plus. You had luxury big man cave storage that were selling for huge amounts. That created a building boom. Now those spaces that were trading for $800, we've seen some of those markets go down to $200 or $150. That is a massive compression, and by far the largest that we've seen as far as space goes in the self-storage industry. So what does the opportunity look like now? Is it gone? Let's look at how big space yields a lot less. The math is quite interesting. Now, while this is a big ticket number, this unit right here is a 12 by 35. Now, we can sell a big unit like this for a lot of money in this market, like $400. But we could also fit 16 5x5s in this space. And in this market, we can sell those 5x5s for $75. That means that the rent, if it were 5x5s, would be $1,200. So that's what we talk about on yield per square foot, or space, meaning that there's only so much people can afford to utilize one single tenant in one space. $400-500 is pushing it. Whereas if you use this space more efficiently, you get a lot more money. Now, that works in spreadsheets. If you have enough people to spend for 5x5s, is there demand for that or not? That's the question. But the price sensitivity on an individual on $400 is way more than $75. So what we see is these prices with demand go way up and go way down in most markets. They may go up to $400, $500, $600 for a unit like this, but then also they can go all the way down to $200 or $150. That is a very low revenue per square foot. especially when you can get $75+ for a 5x5. Right now, financing for real estate is really hard, even for self-storage. The markets are very challenging. Live Oak Bank is a specialist in financing for self-storage, including SBA loans. They are one of the leaders in financing all sorts of deals and deal size. We trust Live Oak Bank for their specialty in self-storage, their unique approach, and how they help their customers go through the process so there's no surprises. That in itself is a testament to their exceptional service and support. So whether you're looking to acquire, build, or expand a storage facility, Live Oak Bank has to be number one on your list to call. Click the link below right now so you can experience the difference that a dedicated self-storage partner can really make. Let's talk operations. Now, this is where the positive comes in. So what we do is obviously you have to build it, we have a gate, but to operate it on a day-to-day, that's what we're talking about. The day-to-day operations to manage it is as simple as setting up a website and connecting that website with your gate and our keyless entry system, which we use no key. It's as simple as the tenant renting online. They get the gate code, they can open up the gate, they can come in and use the keyless entry system to open up their individual unit. So we don't need to have a lot of support on site. They drive in, they park, and with the keyless entry system, they don't even need a lock. It's all done on their phone and app. The whole entire customer experience. They drive in and drive out, and there's a lot less that is usually being stored if it's for RVs. So it makes it really simple to own and operate, really low overhead. It's one of the reasons why people like this asset class so much. All right, so now let's talk about the opportunity in this space. Boat, RV, toy storage, big storage, yes, there's still opportunity. It is very like all storage, market specific, and supply and demand will depend on the market. But overall, we have definitely seen a pullback, especially in development. Lenders are very hesitant to lend on large boat, RV, toy storage today. With inflation where it's at and the price of goods and services going so high, consumers are getting squished, and we're feeling that pressure both in what they can afford to pay per unit, but also on the consumer side, buying RVs and toys, meaning future demand. People aren't going out as much anymore, and so that demand curve has definitely changed. So you need to be careful before going into a market and just start building. So the make it or break it, like all storage, is demand, but that's especially true with such large units and the cost to build it. Now, that is market specific, and markets vary wildly. That's why it's important to get a feasibility study, which looks at everything from the demand, where your customers are, and the viability of a project that you're either going to build or purchase. If you would like us to do a feasibility study for you, just like the ones we do when we build these, then follow the link and you can get access to it right here.